Welcome to the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi. May the Force be with you.
Looky, Senator. There's a Jedi arriving.
Let's make this our best show ever!
I will sign no treaty, Senator.
I am the Senate.
This is the way.
Hello, Star Wars fans, and welcome to Positive Star Wars Chat, because this is the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast, coming to you via the power of the Force and with a little help from Skype. This episode recorded on the 7th of April 2024. And in this episode, we will mostly be talking about a bit of the Bad Batch, the Tales of the Empire trailer, and pretty much anything else Star Wars that comes to mind along the way, including the Acolyte, which I just forgotten. This episode is brought to you by Barris O'Fay.
I did it because I have come to realize what many people in the Republic have come to realize, that the Jedi are the ones responsible for this war, that we've so lost our way that we have become villains in this conflict, that we are the ones that should be put on trial, all of us.
Who is a Force-sensitive female Mirrorlin and was a Jedi Knight. Remember, I totally forgot him, but she was a Jedi Knight who fell to the dark side during the Clone Wars. Trained as a Padawan under Jedi Master Numenera Unduli, she was now seen confessing that she set up Ahsoka for bombing the Jedi Temple in the Clone Wars. And very soon, like in a month's time, maybe by the time you're reading this, we will find out what happened to her. But as ever, before we get going in the show, it's time for a quick word from the sponsors of this episode.
Nobody does Star Wars like the power of the Force from Kenner. The biggest, most realistic Force in the universe. Only the power of the Force brings you the biggest heroes and villains straight from the movies, and the largest fleet of full-scale vehicles ever. We bring you the real movie detail of the Rebel Snowspeeder, the blazing lights of the Luke Skywalker lightsaber, and the big movie sounds of the X-Wing. When it comes to big size, big detail, and big movie sounds, now you're playing with the power. Star Wars, Power of the Force. Figures and vehicles each sold separately. Batteries not included, only from Kenner.
Thanks to the sponsors. Thank you very much. They're helping keep the lights on, paying for our D+ subscriptions, the wheels on the road, food in the cupboard, and all that good stuff. But before we get going, it's time to introduce the fellow senators who join me this month. And whereas my name is Stephen, the only British member of the crew, and you might well say that's enough, really, but I am joined from across the sea by two other senators this episode. We're a very light skeleton crew. That's coming later in the year. But we have Ryan.
Hello there.
And Ricky.
Hello.
And you do hear another voice doing the whole episode. That'd be Ron chirping in from Parts Unknown, who is lurking in the background. You want to
Greetings
say
and
hello,
salutations, fellow senators and chancellor. Yes, mine will be a limited participation today.
Our very special guest participant. His voice will be mentioned throughout the show. So we're going to try and pack in a heck of a lot of stuff in this episode, as I said before, and we're not quite sure how it's going to work out time-wise, but it's time for the news!
All right, so I'll start with some of the older news and get to the more recent one. There's just a couple notes. So, as I usually say, I'm a board game guy. So they announced that for Star Wars Villainous, the next official set will be, and what I was hoping for, Maul and Phasma will be the next character set for Star Wars Villainous, which Maul, Phasma, and Maul, Phasma, and the blue dude. What the heck? That's
Thrawn was your other hope.
Yeah, Thrawn. Yeah, Thrawn. So too many people I'm seeing with these Empire, but and Thrawn. So now my hope is almost Thrawn will be its own single set, because they do release singles like Venom from Marvel was a single. So I'm super excited that Maul and Phasma are the next for this set. So that comes out July 31st, and it's only two characters compared to the regular three, but I think they're shooting for a lower price point. Instead of having a $30 or $40 game, these two characters will just be $20, and people can buy them. They can play them together. They can mix them with other Star Wars sets. So Phasma's always been one of my most favorite characters from the sequel trilogy, and everybody loves Maul. So I think those are two great choices, and I'd love to see how they play together. Some of the other news is they did officially announce a release date for the Mando and Grogu movie, which is May 22nd, 2026. So unfortunately, it's 2 years away, and we have to wait longer. So that apparently will be the first Star Wars movie back into theaters, and it looks like they're shooting for May 22nd, 2026. The Adventures of Mando and Grogu, title to be determined.
I thought it was called
Also,
Mando and Grogu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and they also announced Andor and Kenobi will be coming to Blu-ray on the full Blu-ray set, the hard steel back Blu-ray cases. So, which I always thought was a great thing to do because people don't want streaming all the time. So, and there's people who will want to collect it just to have the steel books or just to have the movies so they can maybe watch the streaming every once in a while, turn it off. I mean, it's free money. People will buy the DVDs. So I don't know why the heck they waited so long to do Andor and Kenobi. I'm kind of surprised did they already have the Mandalorian out? Because I don't understand why that wouldn't come out too.
I thought they had.
I don't know if
Yeah, they did Mando, and like you said, there's collectors that are
There's
going to want to
season one.
collect it, and then there's people that are going to want to watch it, in their vehicle or something, or somewhere where streaming isn't available. So yeah, like you say, it's free money. I'm glad they're doing it. Very excited. Andor, though, I kind of would want to wait until Andor finally drops as a complete 2 seasons and buy that set. So, but they'll get their money twice. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, when it's 12 episodes, they really get they're definitely going to split it up. So, but yeah, I thought that was pretty fun. They're getting the steelbooks for that. Like I said, I've been saying it for a while. It's free money. Just put it out there. People will do it. And then the other part of the news is the trailers, which we'll watch those. But I think for me, the biggest was the Maul and Phasma announced for Villainous, because I'm like so hyped for that game because I found a way to play it single, and it's one of the few games my son plays with me, and he really loves that one. So, and Grievous is his favorite character.
Is it going to be an exclusive, only found somewhere, or available at all the places that were selling the Villainous? Like that one Boba Fett thing had a thing that was specific to Target. Do we know of anything?
It'll most likely be sold everywhere, and I wouldn't be surprised if Target had its own special one, even for 2 characters. So I wouldn't be surprised if Target had their own one. So
Yeah, because I went to Target yesterday and they actually had some of them on sale for like $14. The ones that I think the Boba Fett sized one, the smaller ones, and that one didn't have a sleeve, the Boba Fett one, so it was just a normal one. So even if it's a Target exclusive, that's not the only one they carry. So
yeah, people got to be aware.
Target exclusive was not advertised as an exclusive. Usually things have stickers or are otherwise drawn attention to. You had to know the one that had the sort of bookcasey sleeve on it with the blaster fire was the special one, so to speak. It was a very odd exclusive for sure.
Yeah, but that's kind of it for the news. Just a couple small things. I'm excited for stuff coming up.
Okie dokie. All done. We're done. We will start off with the most exciting thing that has happened since we last spoke to you, and that was the unexpected trailer for Tales of the Empire, which nobody expected, and I got very excited about when it came out and watched the trailer about a good 3 or 4 times in 5 minutes. So I will ask my DJ Ricky to fire up the trainer, get the reel out and stick it into the projector and share to the screen kind of thing.
Okay, hold on. All right, so here we go. Tales of the Empire official trailer.
Yep.
Why do you seek Imperial favor?
Years ago, my people were all but destroyed. My anger gives me strength. It is that strength I offer the Empire.
Offer accepted.
I'm here to present you with an opportunity, Barris.
Just be glad you're not a Jedi anymore.
Your path is set, Morgan Elspeth. I will fulfill my destiny.
Mercy only breeds defeat. But I will help you overcome this weakness. Attack!
You said the Empire would help to change things.
Everything comes at a cost. My world has been burning since I was a child. You cannot stop what has begun.
Now you must face one final test. To join us. It is time you meet your new master. Long live the Empire.
Brilliant.
Hey. If I could do a standing ovation, I would have done after that.
Yet again.
Grab your shorts.
I love
because they're coming out.
I love that these were nothing that anybody predicted, because there's always that stuff. Well, the next one's ought to be about Mace, or the next one ought to be about. They add all these guesses, and then they drop a backstory for Morgan Elsbeth, which is what people have been asking about. We're like, what's up with her? And then a continuation of an 11-year-old story with Barriss Offee. And it's just amazing that of all the stuff that people suggest, they drop this, and it blows me away because it's the right decision. We're getting a Morgan story very quickly, from when she was introduced. And now we're getting a Barriss backstory, which people have been asking for a decade. Like, yo, what happened to Barriss, man? So,
it's so long ago,
both of these are just perfect choices. And the surprise that they changed the title to Tales of the Empire, because now it just opens up 100 different stories. You can go Tales of Bounty Hunters, you can go Tales of the Old Republic, anything you want to do. Tales of
Jar Jar Binks,
Tales of the Resistance.
Tales of the Resistance. You could choose 100 different things. So I love that they changed the title.
Or
they just did
the first order.
Well, totally agree. The sheer impact of dropping this without any sort of hint of it coming, being a thing, being dropped at that time, that coupled with the storylines that we're going to see, or that they showed and teased in that trailer, was what was goosebump, chill bump inducing. That part of Star Wars, they seem to have gotten right in terms of making it a surprise, a wonderfully dropped surprise that caught us all off guard in a great way, because we really had no hint of anything. There was no spoiler, right? There was no idea something like this was to be coming or to be this. So that was kudos, applaud and well done to have that be a part of our experience that is Star Wars fans. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
And it comes in a month. So, because we all know that the broad Star Wars fans that just kind of see it in theaters, they won't really care about stuff like this, but amongst like Star Wars fans that are dug neck deep in it, that's all we need is a month heads up, and we're totally invested. We don't need to wait. We don't need a 6-month trailer, a 1-year trailer to start creating buzz amongst people. We're going to drop it a month out because we know the people who are neck deep in Star Wars will see it, and they're going to make plans for it. And I think that's what's great too, because we don't have to wait a year. It's coming in 1 month.
And that's what's impressive about it. It's animated, well, even live action. It takes a long time to make that content. So there's a lot of people that knew about it, and thankfully they all kept their mouths shut, if you will. They all were able to be loose lips about it. That it wasn't. I don't recall even hearing any hints about it. So I think that's a testament to those that make it. Also,
I think
understand
at Celebration
the
they said there was going to be a Tales of the Jedi season 2.
Yes.
I think they announced that they were working, but not any sort of timeline or anything, right?
It's certainly not the Empire.
The trailer says 2 stories, but they're going to be. Do we have any inclination as to how the shows or what's going to drop? Like the Tales of the Jedi were kind of like shorts. Is this also going to be a bunch of shorts?
Yeah. I'm sure somebody said 4 or 6 episodes, didn't they? Some people
because
said it.
If you see, they're kind of in different spans. So you see Morgan young when when the Night Sisters get wiped out. You see when she meets Thrawn. So there's definitely some time jumps in there. Barriss training with the Inquisitors, Barriss just after Order 66, maybe Barriss before she turns also. So there's going to have, before she turns, we know when she turns because of the seasons. And then you see the clones specifically say, you're lucky you're not a Jedi anymore. So that's definitely post 66. And then her training with the Inquisitors. So her story is what I'm just blown away about, because I don't think anybody knew that she would be Inquisitors. And we've had books on the Inquisitors. We had Rise of the Red Blade. We've had stories. We've had video games. And all of a sudden, Barriss is in there. And it's like, wait a minute. Like, where was she in the Inquisitors? Did she die before kind of the big stories?
Every time it was a mysterious Inquisitor, it was like, it's Barriss.
But they say that with it. Like, America's Barriss. Like, everything.
Hers would be a somewhat unique story in that she came from the Jedi Order. Like anything and everything else related to Inquisitors, right, were just new players in the mix, whereas hers has ties. So that could explain why you didn't see her in those other elements and those other things. But yeah, I'm excited, like you, Ryan, to say that she's now in the mix mixed up within the Inquisitor part of the story that is where we get to post Order 66 or whatever. So it'd be exciting to see what they have to say about it.
But it was word Jedi though, like that's from Fallen Order and from what was that, Rise of the Red Blade book? Is that the other one? Was that one? No, not Rise. Which was the Inquisitor book?
Red Blade. Yeah. Rise of the Red Blade is the Inquisitor story.
Yeah, and then they showed that they were actually recruiting Jedi and during Order 66. So it would make sense.
This will show what that spoke to. That here's one that they did. It's 2 stories. Are we thinking 3 episodes or 3 episodes for each story, or do we not? Do we know it's 6, or we're speculating that it's
how many were in the other one? I've seen the only one person I watch online these days, Star Wars Explained. I'm sure he said it was 6 episodes, but I don't know where he's got it from. So I haven't seen that anywhere. But
whatever it is, I will eagerly anticipate it and anxious and enjoyingly watch it with and then hopefully, what did they do for Tales of the Jedi? If anyone recalls, did they drop it all at once, or did they trickle it out?
Yes,
they dropped.
I thought that one was dropped all at once. Yeah,
they're shorts. So.
13 to 17 minutes each they were. So decent.
It speaks to the story because none of us have talked about how beautiful it looked. Dark. It was very all dark tones and fire tones, but it was gorgeous.
The animation is just getting better and better. Every time they do something animated now, it's just getting even more gorgeous. The Bad Batch is just beautiful. I mean, there might be people who don't like the Bad Batch, but you've got to admit, even they would say that it's very, very gorgeous and beautiful.
They filmed these in the volume, so that's what it looks like. It's kind of like this. Like I got the shot up right now of the place from Mandalorian that Morgan was in control of, it. It looks like the show, so it's crazy.
There's definitely.
You got to think there's probably technology that could take that live action Mandalorian set and sort of give them a baseline for, you know how you can take a picture and say, show me a cartoon version of this picture. They could easily have that kind of AI tech to at least give them a starting point so that it looks as accurate as what we remember from the live action piece. Anyway, it really, you're right, Stephen. The animation just keeps amping, just tweaking and tweaking ever so much that you cannot fault that aspect of it. It is so beautiful to see.
Absolutely, absolute visual delight. Really, I have to say. When I saw it, I just thought, and for me, obviously, I do slightly lean on the, always slightly more interested in the darker side stories and things, and I was like, this is just like exactly what I wanted for a really nice dark, but not necessarily too dark. Star Wars. Always the trailer says darker Star Wars has always done slightly better, doesn't it? You think about Empire, Return of the Empire Strikes Back, The Last Jedi, Andor, Rogue One. The ones that are slightly on the more evil, darker side of things always strike in the mind a lot more.
I would say not really, but Revenge of the Sith is my favorite one.
Well, how thrilling was it that they tell her you're going to meet a new master, or now you're ready to, have a new master, and we all know who it's going to be, and you just see and there's a slight hint in the musical cue, and then it's awesome
still
to be
wonder-
a fully fleshed out Star Wars fan.
Ron, have you read Rise of the Red Blade? I know you don't read a bunch of them, but I don't know if you read Rise of the Red Blade.
You're cute, Ryan. Have you guys talked me into it? No, I don't think so. Right? That was one you have talked about, but no, I don't believe I got to.
Yeah. It gives it focuses on kind of one character that's really not known at all, but it just gives a lot of story to the Inquisitors. It goes through like her training, like very character centric, not like some of the High Republic stories, which focus on like 8 characters. This focuses on like 1, maybe 2 characters. So I'm just saying.
Okay, I do remember us talking about it and being somewhat excited because you guys made it out. It sounded like it was a pretty well fleshed out story to help explain some of the Inquisitor stuff and how someone got involved. I do remember us talking about it and thinking it was potentially worthy of a read, but no, haven't done it yet.
Yeah, that was good because it did shed some light on how they got the Inquisitors and how that whole scene where then they showed Vader walking by and they're all bowing. That seems like it's pulled directly from that book, because that was something that happened in that book pretty often when Vader just walks in and they're like, oh no, and then they all just have to like bow, and then someone ends up getting a limb chopped off. So
yeah.
So for those of you who read it, would you say it's a good canon book, that what's in the book is kind of really sits is well seated with it all?
I think it's
but some have, Vader's and as many prosthetic parts silliness in them that you could say that's not a good canon book because there's silliness inside of it, and it doesn't sound like that's the case for this one.
No, that one
right until somebody wants to change it. But the book's content was full of good canon type stuff that it should stick pretty well.
Yeah. No, we find out that Palpatine actually showed up in hologram form to these Inquisitors saying like, I want to recruit you, So yeah, it's pretty cool. So can you guys see the shot that I have frozen on here?
Yep.
Who's the person on the left? Varys is on the right. There's somebody on the left.
Yeah, that's the Grand Inquisitor, isn't it?
Is it?
No, the Grand Inquisitor's in the middle, up top.
Oh, is that him up there?
Top.
It seems like they're about to battle for the position of Inquisitor or something like that. So it might just be a random unnamed another person vying to be in there, and it's like, well, you have to kill them to die.
Yeah, so just somebody we don't know. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you got to have somebody go, and it can't be a major thing. So have somebody fight for that Grand Inquisitor position, and so we get some good lightsaber.
Have they got a red top on? That most curious to see whether they die or not. I always feel a little bit the same thing again. We had a Jedi in shackles. I'm thinking, what's the point of that? What's the point of that? What's stopping them from using taking the shackles off whenever they like?
Well, Kenobi couldn't get out of his shackles when Dooku had him. So.
Yeah, they're force shackles in some
fashion. Is there such a thing? Is there such a thing? That's what I'm thinking. I never heard of it. Is it force shackles? Is that canon?
Well, this isn't like the you just said. We saw it in Attack of the Clones. They had Kenobi in a force shield.
Could stop.
He was in a force shield. Yeah, he wasn't in shackles.
No, let's not get into things. Let's not get into pieces of equipment that take away force ability. This isn't the X-Men mutant collars that take away their abilities.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, X-Men and stuff. Yeah.
Well, Thrawn had that lizard.
We've got the name list and stuff. That's pretty different again. Okay, so you're going to flick through bits of the trainer to so we can remember what bits and stuff that were in there.
And Grievous looks amazing in the trailer. I mean, I know I've been talking a lot about Varys because that's the one I'm most excited for, but having Morgan's backstory is pretty great too, because I guess, and I wanted to rewatch the episodes, but I didn't have time because I went to the movies and watched Monkey Man yesterday. And then watched all night staying up watching WrestleMania. But I wanted to watch those episodes about the fall of the Night Sisters. So I can't remember if Grievous was there. Like, was he one of the ones that helped wipe them out?
He's the one that did it.
Oh, he's the one? Okay. So, yeah, she probably hates that dude.
Yeah, and this really ties in for me because I've been playing, like, Fallen Order, or Jedi Survivor nonstop. And then you have the character Merrin, who was a Night Sister from Dathomir. And then she's like pretty much the only one left at that point that you know of. But now you know that Elsbeth was there, so somehow Merrin had to escape also. But I thought Morgan was on a different planet, or she was from a different planet. but
I don't know.
then Dathomir, like they had a satellite.
Well, what's cool is that she was introduced briefly in the Mando. She's a part of Ahsoka, so having this flesh out and fill in a little bit more, and you got to figure she's it's gonna be awesome to sort of explain why and how she's tied into everything, right? She's not going to be in Ahsoka season 2 because she was dispatched wasn't she killed in season 1?
Was she killed?
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah.
So it's not that we can get more backstory of her. So this will help to flesh her out and fill in some, because she obviously is a major player in a sense, if you will.
Well, Night
Good
Sisters
also to
don't
see
really
the elongated head of the Grand Inquisitor again. Nice to see him back as he should be.
Well, they couldn't find somebody with a giant head like that.
Just technical difficulties, I imagine. Yeah, but there are other bits and bobs in their thing we haven't said about. I mean,
Dan Aykroyd and the Saturday Night Live players would disagree. They could have done it. They did the cone heads.
Yeah, they always I don't know. The species
I love the
is
Grand
kind of
Inquisitor.
weird. Yeah, he's nice and slimmed down in this one. He's not the bulky dude.
I still think he went out a bit like a chomp, but he was my favourite in that first season of Rebels.
Was he? Yeah, he was dispatched in the first.
Yeah, he just. Ryan's not seen it yet. Have you? You seen Rebels? You did see Rebels.
Rebels.
Didn't you?
I was, and that's the thing. I was surprised he was killed in the first season with really all the time, because he's getting more story expanded than ever before. And I was like, wait a minute, Rebels barely did anything for him.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, it was really surprising because there was a lot of merch surrounding him. And not that should dictate how long, but, it was just surprising to see, wait a minute, there's a lot of stuff still out in the stores with that guy, and they dispatched him already. It was very Maul-esque, not, Maul successfully was enjoyed well after his death, if you will. But it was very much a surprise to all of us.
He fell, didn't he? He fell off a platform into flames, or was it an explosion? Something like that. Just mentioned before, whereas the tech comes back, doesn't it? He fell and didn't survive.
Yeah, he fell when he was fighting Kanan.
I think I remember him falling. I think he fell.
Yeah, we got to rewatch all this. There's so much stuff.
Yeah, there's a big explosion and he fell down.
Yeah.
So I just went through and made a list of all the Inquisitors just to kind of check open numbers where Barriss might fit. So just as like a recap, there's Grand Inquisitor, second sister from the video games, third sister is Reva. I can't seem to find any information on who the fourth Inquisitor is, so that could be Barriss. And remember, some of these Inquisitors don't take numbers either. So fifth brother is the guy with the hat. Sixth brother
with the hat.
Yeah. Sixth brother is in the original Ahsoka novel. The sixth brother is the one Ahsoka kills to get her lightsaber crystals.
They show him in this.
They introduced another unnamed Inquisitor that she killed in the Tales of the Jedi.
The one with the screen mask. Yeah.
Yeah, they show him on here somewhere.
Because there's two unknown named Inquisitors, and Merrick, we know his name, but then the other unknown one from the Ahsoka Tales of the Jedi, he appeals in this trailer too, so he may take
Merrick
the
an Inquisitor?
Marrow.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, they said he works with the Inquisitors, but he doesn't have an Inquisitor number. So, but anyway, the sixth brother is apparently the one from the Ahsoka novel. He calls himself the sixth brother. The seventh sister is a Mary Allen, but it'd be kind of obvious if that was Barriss. But it's specifically listed her as a Mary Allen. So that's what
Barriss could be the first sister that we start at 2nd and 3, and we don't have a first sister. And wouldn't she, timeline-wise, be early in the sister side of things, so to speak?
Technically, really. Yeah, because second sister.
That's where my money is.
Because it just depends on when they take the name. Because
Reva has a high number, but she was later, so that's what's kind of weird with the numbering thing. So.
And there are.
But how many ladies did they have? So
there was at least
she was
three
later.
Before her, so.
Yeah, it's pretty split. So, but we have the seventh sister, which is just the seventh sister. It's Mary Allen. I don't think she has a name. It'd be weird if that was Barriss and nobody said, "Hey, that's a Mary Allen. That's got to be Barriss, right?" So I don't know.
The one with the tendrils was in Konobi, right?
Yes.
The one that they show right here. And the screenshot
She only did anything the whole thing, didn't she?
Yeah, so the one in front is Kenobi.
That's the seventh sister, ain't it?
I believe so.
So,
and then you have if you guys look in the screen, the one after Barris is the one from Ahsoka, right?
Yes,
that's
me.
And the one in the end is the one Ahsoka fights in the Ahsoka shorts. So
yeah.
Can't see a thing.
So
to contrast.
They need numbers on their chest, man. There's too many.
They do, yeah. Like in football and soccer and stuff, yeah.
So keep with the rest of the list. There's the eighth brother, which is the one that was killed by Maul. Remember, he just kind of jumped off the cliff, or his blade failed and he fell. That was the eighth brother. Ninth sister is the big orange one. I can't remember the species, but the really huge one with the tusk on their chin. I can't remember that species, but they're in High Republic a few times too. That's ninth sister. 10th brother, he was from the comics and he's dead. I don't have anybody listed for 11 and 12. And then the 13th sister was Rise of the Red Blade. So there's also the two unnamed one. One's from Crimson Climb, the book. Another one's from the Ahsoka series, which is from Tales of the Jedi. And then there's Yelona, who's also from Rise of the Red Blade, who didn't take a number. So as of right now, I'm showing 4, 11, and 12 at least open. So, and again, that's just from one general list that seems up to date because it includes Rise of the Red Blade. So
maybe there'll be a couple other ones in this thing to fill those out.
Yeah, there's no saying that the 13th sister was the last one, so I don't know.
How cool was this added content, and any future added content, will be to watch the timeline edit, where somebody edits and stitches all the various things together, that Ahsoka short and just anything and everything in a watchable timeline fashion of how things should progress. We've been jumping all over the place, but to have some sort of massive 4-hour timeline edit of stuff is going to be a fun thing to watch at some point in the future.
Yeah, I was doing that when I was watching Phantom Menace one time. We were just flipping back and forth between the Tales of the Jedi shorts and then putting back certain parts of
Oh, man. Imagine the ultimate visual Star Wars in order schedule. He's going to watch everything in chronological order.
Oh, apparently there is a fourth sister. They were from the comics, so I'm just trying to look them up. That is someone named Lynn. So I don't know.
I'd be like 27th brother, just to pick a number that stands out.
No, I would go for 69. 69th brother.
23rd to be the Michael Jordan of the Inquisitors.
1138th brother.
That's what I was going to chime in with. I'll be 1138.
Yeah, what's the trash compactor number? And go for that one.
Oh, and I just double checked that Inquisitor that's training Barris with the small head tails. That is the fourth sister. I found a toy of her, and the box says fourth sister Inquisitor. So she's the fourth sister. So I don't even know if Barris will take a number.
Future coming or something that's been released already? Is it something that's come on the way? It's how'd you find it?
It says out of stock when I see it, so I don't know exactly when it came out. So it could be out of stock because it hasn't started. Oh, here's one that's in stock. So, and I thought I've seen her around before. 25 pounds.
Another ship blown up.
Yep.
It's not been a good week for ships.
So yeah, Barris might not take an Inquisitor number. So.
Yeah, right. Might be ahead of that sort of thing.
You got the visual of all the battle droids, didn't we, as well? That was fantastic. Love that. Bit further forward, isn't it? Bit back.
The coloration and everything, that it's Tales of the Empire, so it had all those red, orange, and all of those hues, at least in the trailer. And I suspect the stories and what we're going to see isn't going to be brightly colored pastels. It's going to be wonderfully Empire darkish like that.
It's going to be hard to watch all these that weekend.
Oh, talk about a busy week, man. Holy smokes. We got the end of the Bad Batch. Definitely going to see episode 1. Now this.
We're doing the whole marathon.
Wait, you guys are doing all 9?
No, I haven't got tickets yet. No, I'm not good. There's no way I can spend that.
Okay. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Because I
The
know
marathon wasn't near me, but thankfully a local theater. I've been lobbying and lobbying and lobbying, and they finally relented, or otherwise got permission, or however all that works, and sent me the text saying, "Yeah, we're going to drop tickets tomorrow." So I got my 12 tickets for a showing May the 4th, Saturday night. Going to invite any friends and family that want to tag along to see a movie we've all seen 100 times. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that week a whole bunch.
Yeah, it's playing for a week too. So that's cool. You can go again if you want.
what is the
Yeah,
9
nice.
or okay? Yeah, I was wondering how long it was going to be in. So
Yeah.
boy, I got to try to get a hold of that one.
Looks like it's Friday to Thursday that it's showing that week. So
I wish they made it a special edition. I miss these special editions. I know people complained maybe at the time a bit, but special editions, I loved that whole concept of adding new bits and doing things up and that kind of stuff. Been lovely if
Well,
they'd
it's not
done
the
a bit
original
for
one
that.
that was shown. So in
Sorry?
theaters, it's not the original version that was shown in theaters because you got digital Yoda now. So
Oh, yes, of course. They made a few changes afterwards, didn't they?
yeah, and then the
Oh,
last time it
so-
was on was the 3D one, so that one was different. So yeah, this is kind of a new version that they
Yeah,
haven't
I'm
shown
not,
in
yeah,
theaters.
it's not huge, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, how bad was that Yoda? Anyhow,
There might be a McClunky thrown in
There
there.
hasn't. Yeah, there hasn't been any announcements. We're just assuming it's the version that's on Disney
Well,
Plus that
yeah,
we could watch, on May the 3rd. But they very well could surprise us with some
Another
sort
lap
of
of the pod race.
an edit. Although, why wouldn't you tease that, right? To try to, or are you gonna drum up any different business if you announce that, or do you let it happen virally, word of mouth afterwards that hey, that was a new edit, and then people will go to the later because everybody's gonna want to go Friday or Saturday,
I
May
think
the
if you
4th, like
do
I went.
that,
So
if you do that, it's going to be a full release that's not going to play for a week. So that'll get people to actually go and watch it repeatedly. If there's new scenes and stuff like that, definitely that would
trying to
be
think
more
what
than
deleted
just
scenes.
limited.
Trying to think what deleted
But if
scenes
they
they could
drop
possibly
that,
add.
if they drop that Friday and then it gets out there, because it'll get out there incredibly quick virally. I mean, it's why we have the word viral, right? We'll all go back and see it multiple times. It'll get people that were like, oh, I don't need to go to the theater. I can stay at home. And why would I do that? It's like, oh, shoot, I'm going to go do that.
I mean, they
Anyway,
could have
it's fun to
deleted scenes in
speculate that
there.
they might.
They have the fight with Anakin and Greedo in there. They could have the extra fighting with Maul. Like, yeah, that'd be.
We do get a trailer drop, right? A more extensive. We're expecting a more extensive Acolyte trailer, right?
Mm,
In
I'm sure
front
it'll
of
be
the
something.
movie.
Sure, it'll be something before then.
Yeah, there should be.
Speaking of
Do
which,
you want to move on to the Acolyte trailer?
that was a great like I say, great cosplay, but that's great tie in there.
Transition.
Transition, that's the word. Yeah.
Or should we watch the Empire State Building?
Yeah.
video?
That's not
That thing was
exciting.
awesome.
I've seen
I was
that.
watching it.
Going from the official source here.
Yeah.
Time for it. Doesn't that Jedi there on the left look like that Jedi in the High Republic?
Yes.
Someone in the High Republic's similar to that. I'm sure.
I forget his name.
Yeah, I don't know his name. There's too many of them. There's too many
Jerry.
of them. There's too many of them, Master Skywalker. What should we do? Yeah. Okay, so we're on to the Acolyte trainer now. We've changed. For it to start, let's play.
All right.
Is that the
So
start?
let's go.
Close your eyes. Your eyes can deceive you. We must not trust them. Tell me what comes into your mind.
Life. Balance. I see fire.
Someone is killing Jedi. It doesn't make sense. What happened?
I sensed darkness.
This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
What is that?
I don't know how you can't be hyped for that because
Right.
I've seen certain places be negative about it, and I don't get it, man. Like, what more do you want? You got
You have
kung
to
fu.
actively
Excuse
want
me. You
to
got
hate.
martial arts. Yeah, you got martial arts. You got a ton of Jedi with lightsabers. Like, you got crazy kicks. You got fighting. You got all new characters. I mean, good lord, y'all MFers are so spoiled. I'm so sick and tired of people hating on Star Wars when they give you something new, they give you something old, they try to tie it all in, and people continue to hate on stuff. And it's just like, you know,
Everything in
you
this
guys
trailer
got
looked
deeper reasons
awesome.
for hating on things. Yeah, it's just, I don't see what more you could want, man. This was incredible.
I just want
The
to
only
have a
thing
gun.
is, I honestly think, and I've been saying this for a while, I honestly don't expect to see any type of Sith, or the rule of two. I don't expect to see Tenebrow. I don't expect to see Plagueis. I'm not expecting that at all. And I think people have been talking about Palpatine, but as we've mentioned, it's before that dude's like even a child. So I think people need to, and again, this will just create more hate because people's expectations are going to expect to see some Sith master. And it's like, no, this is about an acolyte. That doesn't mean a Sith acolyte. It could be a Padawan. It could be someone training to do. Yeah, obviously they have Sith blades, but you could imagine how many of those were probably left the thousands of Sith that have been gone for 1,000 years. Anybody can have a red blade. It doesn't have to be a Sith at all. It could be a fallen Padawan that turns it too by studying some old books. So, but regardless, this is a murder mystery with Jedi that obviously has a bunch of fights in it, and I'm like hyped.
I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lightsabers on this shot. That's just awesome.
Yeah.
On top of the red
We
one
haven't
that's
had that
thrown at.
since 2005. So
And see, and that's the great thing I loved about the prequels. It was like when do you get to see like that many Jedi fighting? Like we got one lightsaber in the whole original trilogy. Like
yeah.
So I mean, in different now you got the yellow ones. This is the first time they're gonna have like actual on-screen yellow lightsabers fighting. It's gonna.
So
be
yellow
gonna
or
be great.
orange. Sort of an
I mean, you
orangey
could
yellow.
have orange because I mean, in the
I
video
went with
games,
they were yellow to
It's
me.
yellow.
My wife said they were a little orange, but I mean, come
They're
on,
yellow.
Yeah, pretty close.
It's gonna be so awesome. I'm excited. And then like my lightsaber from Savi's workshop is a yellow one, and it kind of looks kind of High Republic-y. So I'm hyped for the show. Like it just.
And of course we've got a Wookiee Jedi as well.
Yeah. And it's
And I will
what's
openly admit that I was wrong. I said, it's like, that's got to be Buryaga. It makes no sense if it's not anybody else. Ricky said it wasn't, and he pointed out to me that it's Cal Naka. And I'm like, a new character, Cal Naka. But I just really wanted to see another character from the High Republic. And Buryaga makes sense, it's, type of thing. It's because he can
could show
live
up.
for so long. Yeah, so now it makes me worried about Buryaga from the High Republic because obviously they had to get approval to use characters. And it's really weird that they would choose Vernestra Rowe as the character to live an additional, 50 or 100 years.
100 years,
yeah. Because this is 100 years before Episode 1. That's the thing. There really isn't a timeline. People keep saying 100 years before Star Wars or 100 years before Skywalker Saga, which would put it to 100 years after the High Republic. So Vernestra Rowe would be like 118 years old. But you also have a Wookiee that can live for several hundred years. So I'm surprised that Vernestra was the character they took from High Republic, which I've been a Vernestra fan since the beginning. I've been saying since after Phase 1 that they got big plans for her. Would have never expected this. And I don't expect her role to be that big because I think she's only credited in one episode. So she would probably just be someone to talk to.
Where she died.
To direct all our people. So yeah, but I will admit that Ricky was right. It wasn't Buryaga because I was all full of myself. And
They
I was
announced
like,
it at Celebration
dude.
last year.
Yeah.
If do you see this Wookiee has his head shaved on the top?
What?
He's got like the
It's not
top knot.
shaved.
It's
Of course
shaved.
It is shaved.
Yeah.
Is it? I'm looking at an image of it and I see he has the knot, but yet it looked like there's a shave mark, huh?
Yeah, it's all shaved on the top of his head. And
Well, I wish you wouldn't have pointed that out because that is haunting. I'm sure we've all Googled unshaved Wookiee. I can't be the only one. And it's just, have you seen a hairless, any animal, kangaroo or monkey or anything? Those things are koala.
Buryakas
Those things
not
are
shaved.
horrifying, man. So
I want to see a Jedi Vector. Hopefully they have those.
Vector.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we don't know when they got phased out because they did get phased out.
Yeah, that's true. And are there any Nile still around? And what's going on? Are they going to have to reference what happened to the Nile?
That's the thing, gotta bring up. I hope they avoid talking about the High Republic. Worst thing you can do is spoil anything. So I would really, to say that Vernestra was still alive, I would even consider a small spoiler because I've been saying she would be the one to kind of end it all, based on whatever her task is. That was just a wild grab. I have no investment in it. If it's Avar, if it's Elzar, I don't really mind. But I've just been saying Vernestra has big plans. But you can't deny that the character in Ahsoka is called Mother Anicia. She has mother. She has. Well, it's not the same. Ones have waves on their forehead, and she has like a whirlpool. So, and the Nile even still exists in the time of the Empire because in one of the comics, in the Star Wars comic, I think after Empire, it has like a Star Destroyer will pop up, and it's one panel only, and it just says, "Oh, sir, there's some Nile raiders back down there," and he's like, "The group from generations ago," and he's just like, "Bomb them and deal done with it," and he just bombs this building. And then they move on and they never talk about it again. And I was like, oh, okay. So they recognize that the Nile are kind of loosely still around, but then it also shows that the Empire is so much worse than the Nile because they're just like, oh, that's the Nile? Bomb them, terrorists, and be on with it. And he just bombs them and moves away. So, it's that classic where each villain has to be stronger than the next. Well, in High Republic, the Nile are terrifyingly terrorists. So the Empire is just far beyond that. They're just this impressive, overwhelming force. But you can't deny that this character is called Mother Anicia. So will it be part of the Nile? Honestly, I hope not.
Because the character in Acolyte name that? Yeah,
her name's Mother Anicia. The one that's and that's the other thing I've seen people complain about, where the character who's obviously, an anti-hero or villain, whatever she may be in the story, I don't know, we'll soon find out. I've seen people complain. It's like, oh, Star Wars writers don't know what they're talking about because Mother Anicia in the trailer says something like, oh, it's about power. And people will comment, oh, it's about light side and dark side. That has nothing to do with the writers, you idiot. It has to do with this character. This character believes this, and that character could be wrong. So it just makes me so mad, some of the pointless, stupid negativity that I've seen about that.
Yeah, I've been playing Jedi Survivor, and there's a lot of High Republic tie-ins there, and I don't have to see when I'm done with the game, but yeah, it seems like there might be Nile tucked away in some random areas, but yeah, with Vern, I'm in the middle of reading the one with her, Defy the Storm.
Yeah, Defy, me too.
Yeah, that's the Vern book. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with her in that one, to see how she ends up like this, because it looks like I've seen some other shots of her, and she's bald and has a scar on her head, and
for somebody who is almost half bald himself, I mean, it does happen after time.
I just wonder. Yeah, they can't say at all what happened with the Nile War, because that would just spoil the books. So.
Yeah, it would be amazing, and I don't think we'll see it because she's only credited in one episode. But to see her lightsaber, her whip lightsaber, would be crazy on TV, because in Defy the Storm, again, I'm only 11 chapters in. I know you guys are beyond that, but it talks about her training with the saber, and it's exactly like ribbon dancers. For some reason, is an Olympic sport. But how amazing would that be to see those movements with a ribbon, but the color of a lightsaber? Because people will easily start to whine once it appears on TV that, oh, you would kill yourself if you had a whip style saber. And I'm like, you do realize people that are professionals with whips and Olympic athletes that are professionals with ribbons, they don't touch themselves with those. So it's perfectly reasonable to have a lightsaber that's ribbon based or whip based, because you don't whip yourself with a whip all day long. You get used to not hitting yourself with a whip. So it makes sense to, do it with a lightsaber too. Let's not get into the fact that we're now bending light into like a weird little. Let's not even get into that discussion.
I mean, we've had like slingshots and bow and arrows. So
yeah, that's one of that Star Wars. I find it funny because that's the part of my brain I have to dial down because I'm like, lightsabers shouldn't work like that, but to make it bendable light, you're just like, just don't even ask that question. Don't even ask. But like you said, the same thing. They're creating energy from slingshots. Just the fact that blaster bolts shouldn't exist, the Death Star laser doesn't make sense. But that's the fun part of Star Wars. It's just make it crazy.
Actors in it from other stuff.
Yeah, crazy sci-fi. So
you got the guy from Squid Games is in it. This other guy right here, he's from the Russian Doll show. There's in What's an Eternity from Matrix.
He's Master Soul, so he's Master. Which was one thing I noticed, and again, I have to turn off the side of my brain. I was like, wait a minute, that part where he uses the Jedi mind trick, he goes from outside in, and I'm like, wait a minute, Jedi mind tricks go from inside out, because when you see Kenobi do it, he goes it from inside out, and he does it from outside in. I'm like, it's a little different.
Maybe he's a lefty.
Master Soul is that guy.
Then there's the other guy from The Quiet Place that was in or The Quiet Place. The good place.
So yeah, Daphne Keene is Jedi Jackie Lan, and she's the one from she's X-23 for anybody that watched the Logan movie. So I think which is really cool because she didn't speak like any English in that whole movie. So I don't know if that was a character choice or what, but she's a Padawan now. She's the one with all the white makeup. I think that's pretty cool. So I really like the look of Charlie Burnett as Jord Vandar. He is a Jedi Knight, so I think he's pretty cool. So again, all these characters, I'm just Kalnaka will now haunt me with his shaven head. And I find it interesting that Carrie-Anne Moss character is named Indara, and people who read the High Republic, we know Indira Stokes, so which is spelled differently. But it's weird to have one so close together, Indara and Indira. I mean, they're different species, all sorts of stuff. I believe.
Okay, so I have this shot that has on there of people standing around this water. This looks like when Rey went into the mirror cave. To me, it looks like it's Octu.
Dude, that mentioned online. Yeah,
like that would be great. I hate to kind of just be like, well, just because it's water and there's water in the background, they must be related, because I'm not a fan of everything must connect to kind of everything else. But
we know that they go to a mirror cave in High Republic already in the books, so in Battle of Jeddah. So yeah.
Oh, well, that's a different. That was
a different one, yeah. But this slate rocks right here it actually looks like the mountains in that scene.
Which I mean would be amazing to see the backstory to the cave at Octu type of thing. But you kind of assumed, because that's where the first Jedi temple was, you would assume it always had a light and a dark balance. So you would assume that cave was always there. So that's just my initial assumption. Obviously, the Jedi have built temples on top of dark side sites. That's what's on Coruscant. It could have easily been the first Jedi temple, and the dark side built a temple to, kind of balance it out. Who knows?
I've been visiting a lot of High Republic era temples in the game, and I'm expecting to see stuff like that, where you have to use the Force to move a ball to open the door. So
no, and actually that shot on screen with them kind of standing over the water, that dropped my mouth because it just looks beautiful. That type of cinematography is what previous eras of Star Wars just didn't have, and the way people are shooting nowadays, just that simple scene alone, it's like, dang, dude, that panning and the reflection in the water, it just looks really cool.
So whose hand is this holding the red lights?
George Lucas's.
Is this someone catching it back, or is this someone catching it because it got thrown at him?
It catches it at the end, doesn't it? Catches it after throwing it.
Because you could see the trees in the background are already sliced. So
yeah.
Somebody guessed they just caught it.
Then there's that red smoke, blood and stuff, whatever that comes out.
Big old force wave. So, and that's the thing. If let's say it is a Sith, for some whatever reason, and Tenebrow is the Padawan or to be found. Obviously, doesn't look like the hand of another species. It looks like a human fat-fingered hand, but they would have to kill everybody with lightsabers, and it would be like, wait a minute, all these people were killed by lightsabers. That's kind of weird, don't you think? Unless
we do know that they cover up a lot of stuff during the High Republic era.
Oh, let's not get it. Let's not get it. I don't like that aspect where it's like, well, the Jedi are the problem, because as I've always said, Jedi are not the problem. Have they hid some things? Yeah, it wasn't the best choice. But at the same time,
Ryan. Admit it, they failed.
They didn't fail at all, man. Palpatine tricked them. That's not the fail. That's not a fail. Simply trick.
DC Plo Koon in the shot.
Oh yeah, chicken head suit.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was that old.
Yeah, it's an old chicken.
Yeah, but again,
chicken,
like the shot,
is that chicken head? Is it?
It looks like it. It looks like it is.
Is he still around then? Was he?
I guess. I don't know. Who knows how old he is? This guy needs a hat or something. Yeah, this shot too just looks great. Like they're just like looking over this like rainforesty kind of.
Yeah, that's obviously before. Yeah, there's trees and there was trees on fire and stuff in that other shot. So maybe that's same kind
That
of
might
time.
be the same area they all walked through. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's all the
Yeah,
first
I just
episode.
wonder what the mission's gonna be, what they're gonna do, what they're gonna reference. Like it just all looks great. Like so, I'm excited.
I thought there's one Jedi investigating, isn't it? Who's the investigator?
I think it's Jung Woo and Carrie Ann Moss. So Jung Lee and Carrie Ann Moss. Probably. I mean, they seem to be the two main characters.
Will we see any nameless? Who knows?
Then that's not. I don't think
Hey,
there'd
that could be Planet X.
I don't think there'd be a huge amount of High Republic tie-in. They just for some of us who know bits and bobs, then they will probably would pick up and stuff. But they've already said that Fern's the only High Republic character in it.
Yeah, I expect a very, very loose tie-in because, as they said, every spot has to have a transition from one era to the next. So they just decided, listen, the rise of the Sith or whatever has to start at some point, and it has to be the end of the High Republic. So yeah, they're going to tell a story where the end of the High Republic kind of happened, and you start to see the rise of the Sith. So
right, how far, like the book we're reading now, like how many years before Episode 1 is that? Is Phase
200.
3? It's only 200. Oh, I thought it was further back than that.
It's like 199 because it's a year after, it's a year after Phase 1.
Okay. I wonder if we'll see Yoda and stuff. I doubt it, but you could if they show the council. That Vern clip
I think we'll
be
see
a
the council
flashback?
at some. I think seeing the Jedi Council is almost a shoe-in, really. I think we're going to see them at some point.
Yeah, because they're discussing a bunch of Jedi murders. They're going to have to put a team together. So just for information purposes, it's the High Republic era and then the fall of the Jedi era and then the reign of the Empire. So the fall of the Jedi is obviously from here, the Acolyte, all the way through Revenge of the Sith. So this is really where the Sith start to kind of take over and start working in their plans to do stuff. So that's it. That's just the end of the High Republic era. And it's so far after the books, I barely expect any mention at all of anything. But I'm certainly the tie-ins are there with Mother Anissa. Like I hope that she's not a Path of the Open Hand or something because they're kind of disbanded and they're the Nile now. But we'll see. I don't know.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And
exciting.
I forgot the June. Is it June?
June
4th.
June the 4th.
Yeah, it's
June 4th.
Eight episodes. 8 episodes with June 4th. So
I want 25 episodes of every show that comes out.
Is
there a significance to the O being highlighted?
Yeah, I was supposed to say, what about that? What's that? Does that mean something? Is that just a fancy way of?
Because it spins around like a ring.
In the back, yeah. It better not be. This better not be linked to a ring.
It's Frodo's ring.
Yeah, I think we've done that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's never been any rings before in Star Wars, is there?
Well, there's the ring that Morgan Elsbeth uses.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but that isn't built until after Return of the Jedi.
Oh, the hyperspace ring. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, technically it's a ring. I know it doesn't look anything like that, but it's a ring.
I wonder what
It'd
that
be
is.
interesting to know what that significance of that is, or if it's just something to make look fancy.
It has to be something significant.
Maybe it's a collar to take their powers away.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes, that could be an eye. It's a bit like an eye when it's got that. It's a bit like that. But yeah,
It's an eclipse.
Cat's eye. Yeah, an eclipse. That's tomorrow.
Oh boy, don't get started on that.
We're not even getting the full eclipse, so I don't care. So we got a full eclipse months ago.
It's getting pretty close to us. I'm only like 2 hours from totality.
Well, what is that?
We were great. We had it in 1999 here, and our house was in the path of totality, so we didn't have to go anywhere.
Oh, nice.
I looked at it when we had it here back in November. No, when was it? It was like August.
To be honest,
it was during one of my daughter's cross country meets, and we were just like looking up, like, don't look at it.
It's an experience, but I don't think it's anything near what it's hyped up to be. The eclipse. I'm just saying. Apparently, we can just see the edge of it here tomorrow. I just heard that in the news, but I won't be looking. That's bit.
They're having my daughter's lunch. They're having recess inside for the entire school because they don't want the kids looking up at it.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
Sure
that was the big question over here. And back in 1999, all these glasses would be given out, and you could buy these glasses and that kind of stuff. And I refused to. I refused to use glasses. I didn't look at the sun at all that day, apart from when it was behind the cloud before it happened and that kind of stuff. I looked at it through the cloud. But I was like, no way I'm going to look at the sun even with these glasses, because even the scientists were saying that you shouldn't look at the sun no matter what. No glasses or glasses at all. You're still not safe to look at the sun.
They had some for sale at Five Below last time I went after the other eclipse. But yeah, I don't know how much you want to trust glasses at Five Below to look at the sun.
Exactly. It's not worth it, I don't think.
Anyways, back to the
I mean, we see the sun disappear every day. It's not anything new, is it? So,
but not at 3 p.m.
Just get a plate, go outside right now.
Well,
and
we
cover
have
up the
some
sun
really
with the
bad
plate.
days here in winter, I tell you. Yeah. Actually, during winter, the sun does go down about 3:30 in the afternoon here. Anyhow, right. Are we done with the Acolyte? So we got quite a few things lined up. Then, so we got the end of the Bad Batch this month. We got Tales of the Empire the month after. And then we got the Acolyte the month after that.
Yeah,
absolutely full of juicy goodness for the next 2 months.
We got those other books that came out too. I was like,
there's another book out in June, isn't it? Isn't the next High Republic in June?
The Mace Windu one's
Oh,
out.
what kind of crap do you have your suggestions there for YouTube? Oh my gosh, that would be a nightmare if those suggestions popped up.
You
on
Google
YouTube.
Star Wars and it pulls up all that nonsense stuff.
I hate. Why does that have to be the biggest hits? Like, that's what I don't understand. The people that spread the most BS, get the most attention, and I hate it.
We should do a whole episode where we ridicule the internet.
Well, that's why we had the Last Jedi episode specifically to show how great of a movie it is, and of course they started complaining because it's like, well, how dare someone talk about a movie that's 5 years old while we talk about movies that are 35 years old? It's like, shut up, dude. You guys suck. Let people enjoy Star Wars, and if you don't, buzz off and go somewhere else if you don't like Star Wars. Go away and quit ruining it for everyone else. You fucking losers.
You're just done at that point. If you're actively like everything that comes out, you don't like, just pick another hobby. Life's too short. Just do something else.
Every word that you just said is wrong, whatever the quote is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So are we going on to the Bad Batch?
Yeah, which honestly, I don't. And again, I'm not. You don't take it from me about Bad Batch, but I think the last 2 episodes were kind of last 3 because the 9th episode was the Saj, so I think were the most important ones. As I said, I think 6, 7, 8 were kind of fillers. They were all the assassin episodes. They spent a whole episode on searching for what M count means, and I'm like, as viewers, like we know the people that watch this are not, they're either young kids or grown adults that already are well aware that it's like,
and I'm just like, same at
has like, you spent a whole episode on this?
Yeah, I've been kind of curious how they're doing it, but I mean, they're good episodes. Like I've been enjoying them. Like they haven't been boring or anything to me. But like, yeah, it's kind of. I guess they're just trying to give you good stories instead of like actually, explosive meat and potatoes kind of stuff. So, but they've been good. I've been enjoying the season so far. Like,
even on the Harbinger and Ventress in it and stuff, we didn't really learn anywhere near as much as I thought we might learn. As great as it was to have her in the episode, we didn't really learn anything new. She goes, "Oh, do you know anything about M coats? Oh yeah, something to do with midi-chlorines and the testing of Omega, and there wasn't really much else. We didn't learn anything new that much in that episode. It moved things along, but we didn't learn anything amazingly new apart from Ventress is still alive. We knew that because we saw her in the trailer.
So touching on the Asajj episode, for people who didn't read the book, probably would have no idea that she even died. Like that, you got to think that even amongst Star Wars fans, there's different levels because some people don't have time to read books. That doesn't make them any less of a fan or anything. It's just reading books takes up a lot of work, or you need the time to listen to audiobooks, which even when I drive a lot and I listen to audiobooks, I realize I blank out for like 2 minutes and I'm like, wait, did they talk about something important?
Well, it's got to be like a hobby. It's like playing, like people that don't play the video games and you're missing parts of that story too. So I mean, there's people that just it's not hobby. Is your hobby isn't reading books, and you're just not going to read the books. So
there's nothing wrong with it. But so for people who had watched Clone Wars and were aware of it, but maybe didn't read the books, they wouldn't think anything of it. But for people who kind of read the books or the word spread on the internet generally that she died, it was a pretty big moment at the time. And she just appears kind of with no explanation, which isn't a bad thing because I'm sure we're going to get, if we got a backstory on Morgan, I'm sure we're going to get a backstory on this returning. So people just need to chill out.
And really, Dark Disciple was a pretty mediocre book that wasn't that popular. And then now suddenly they show her and everyone's like, I got to buy this book. It's awesome. And you just read it. So you jumped on the bandwagon too.
And again, it was fine. It had my problem with the book. Like I said, I just finished the audiobook. My problem with the book is, and again, I'm obviously the Jedi aren't at fault, but it kind of wrote the council like, I was like, come on, really? You want to assassinate people? Like, really? I mean,
that was my issue with the book too. Like, why did they need to point out that they're going to assassinate Count? They're at war. Like, they're already fighting. Like, why do you we're going to assassinate Dooku? Like, isn't that what they've been trying to do like the whole time?
Yeah, which at times I'm always a hashtag Mace was right. I'm always team Mace because he was right about Anakin 100%. And I will argue that point to the end of the day for fun. But this one is like, man, Mace was really like, we must kill him. And then Voss felt, and then it brought up my questions because Voss was obviously talked about in the Kenobi series as one of the path people to help save. But he fell to the dark side, man, and he was straight up evil. And he had to be watched by Kenobi for almost who knows how long, and story for another time type of thing. And he was madly in love with Asajj. So you have that relationship. Asajj died by Force lightning. And then when it's dropped in the waters of Lake Minnetonka, and she probably just came back to life. Like that's just the simplistic of it. I didn't feel like it needs. Do I want to know for sure? Yeah, but most likely it's just that easy checkbox of, oh, the planet brought her back to life. Because even in the book, it talked about Asajj specifically said, oh, some of the Night Sisters were able to be brought back to life, but I didn't learn that skill before they were destroyed. And then he drops her in water and all these green tendrils wrap around her. And Voss tries to figure out what's going on. And Kenobi's like, whoa, dude, you're evil right now. Don't be trying to tempt all this stuff. So there was always teases that something was going on in the book. And honestly, if Maul can survive, that I'm not like upset that Asajj returned. I'm just like, okay, just tell me why.
And the magic made like Savage like into like He-Man. So,
that too.
That's their magic. It's it's a thing.
And just like how people complain that Rise of Skywalker didn't explain Palpatine returning, it did. Sith magic. Okay, that's about Sith magic having returned. Okay, that's the generalist of it. I'm sure I'll get more later, and we're getting Mandalorian, we're getting Bad Batch just filling in all this stuff, and that's fine.
I'm
with it.
fine with Ventress being back. I want more stories with her. Like she's a cool character.
Yeah, so her return was certainly interesting, and that's the thing. They call this the end of the Bad Batch, but she's now friends with the Bad Batch. So I'm like, well, what's gonna happen? Like if they didn't call this the end, I would kind of wonder what is gonna happen with the Bad Batch. You can't really kill them all. I mean, people just like some finality to stories, and
maybe they just break up.
And
unfortunately,
it'd be
a bit extreme for a cartoon to kill them all off, wouldn't it? It's very unlikely.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Disney doesn't like finality with a lot of characters. Like they brought Asajj back. Obviously, George Lucas brought Maul back. So it's hard. So when a character dies, you're like, good, they're dead. I don't think they're going to bring Dooku back, but yeah, you never know. So.
The way things are going at the moment, just thinking, does Stellan actually die in Starlight Beacon's device? He could have just jumped out the last minute,
Huriyaga did. So
well, yeah, exactly. In fact, almost everybody did, it seemed. But yeah, no spoilers. But you read the comments and stuff. It seems like a lot of people survived. But yes,
no one ever really dies. That's what.
Apart from in Lost, but that's a completely different TV series. Yeah, but I do. Yeah, it's getting a little bit. They've just gone a little bit silly on some of these people surviving deaths at the moment. I would like one or two things more to be a bit more final than they have been.
Yeah, just because it's an emotional connection. It's not a complaint about the storyline. It's just an emotional story where, like, hey, when characters die that we're invested in, it's emotional. It's you want that connection, you want that power to a story where it's like, okay, there is a sacrifice play for this character.
Tech's
all right,
dead.
that's cool.
Well,
is he?
I don't think he is. I think there's just so much. There's just so much tie-in that it seemed I'd be amazed if he's not.
Unless his head was if his head was attached to those goggles, then maybe I'd believe it a little bit more. But even when they said he's dead, I'm like, is he? So
yeah, they had to get them from somewhere.
Yeah, they had to pull him off his dead body. Show me a funeral pyre, something. But whatever. I just count him as dead. So, but on to the next episode, where it kind of got more in like episodes because they dropped 10 and 11 together. So Asajj mentioned that Omega does have an M count. She said she can feel, because what she told Omega that she really didn't, but then she told the Bad Batch, yeah, she kind of does. But then in the 10th and the 11th episode, they kind of revealed that her blood is a binder. It doesn't really have high M count. It's one of the few blood types that allow M count to be transferred. So, because remember how we had this conversation a couple episodes ago where Ron brought up, and we had to almost decide what midichlorians were. Like, if you transferred your blood into another person that doesn't have the force per se, would the M count just slowly dwindle over time? As showing that the force isn't, a strong force user isn't with such a character, so it just kind of dissipates. But it seems like Omega's blood is a binder that allows it to carry the force, and that's what Palpatine's looking for in his clones, some way to transfer his force abilities into another body, because it's been stated in books, comics, legends, and canon recently that the force isn't transferable. It can't be transferred by blood. It's not transferred by having a child. If the force says your child will be successful, then okay, yeah, then they are. But it's not like Ki-Adi-Mundi and his whatever 100 kids. I don't know what he has. They're not all force users. So, but obviously, Hera and Kanan's kid is a force user. Anybody attached to the Skywalker bloodline doesn't count because not everybody was the Jesus of, or whatever it may be, the Jesus of the Force. So,
yeah.
But it seems like her blood, and this is what's really getting me hooked in the episode, because it's adding to the mythos of Star Wars, and we're getting a backstory on the Palpatine stuff, which a backstory to the sequels, backstory to the original trilogies, or backstory to the prequels. I don't care. Backstories are great. So I'm enjoying that. That's why from the certain point of view, books are some of my favorite because it gives backstories to small characters. And Sith magic was good enough of an answer for me. There's cults, cool. It happened in the comics, so don't act like it's that big of a freaking surprise that he returned because it happened 30 years ago. So if it happens in the movies and you hate it, then go spit on Legends and comics because that's where it happened first. But at least now we're kind of getting it's better than he trapped himself in a cocoon and then woke up in a new body. So at least it's Sith science, Sith magic type of thing. And it's just exciting to see all this little tidbits filled in type of thing. So it's definitely getting better. And there's 4 episodes left. And I'm still, I'm getting more intrigued. The middle was a little bit filler for me, but I'm getting more intrigued.
I was trying to remember what happened on the other episode. This one.
Which one? Like 6, 7, and 8, or?
The one, because the Harbinger was the Ventress one, right?
Yeah, I don't have the story titles, but 6 and 7 was all about the assassins attacking the bases. And then the 8th was what's an M count? Hey, what's an M count? Do you know what an M count is? I don't know.
And they attacked the island, right? The planet.
Yeah. And then I believe the end of 11 is Omega was captured again. Because remember, Crosshair tries to shoot a tracker on her and he misses. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, they need to stop listening to her. She's never had a good plan throughout this whole series. And for some reason, they go along with whatever she says. I'm like, you got this mess because you were captured before. Like,
it may turn out better in the end. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
And I found it.
She was trying to save everybody. So.
Yeah, I found it interesting that they had 3 legitimate Force users that they just kept testing blood on. So,
yeah,
I like anytime the Empire is just made to look more evil. That's why I don't wear Empire socks. I don't wear Empire shirts. I was like, these guys are the bad guys. The bad guys might be cool at times, but when you see them strip mining planets, spreading misinformation that Palpatine does, type of thing. It's just like, these guys are terrible in universe. And Andor, you got to see it where he's arrested for walking on the beach, just to create, slave labor workforce from prison.
And he was just a tourist.
Yeah, so it's. I don't have any tattoos. Yeah, I don't have any tattoos, but I would never get an Empire tattoo because those are the bad guys, and I root for the good guys.
So. You don't want to get one on your face like the guy from Resistance.
Because we did have one big death.
I haven't watched that.
We had one big death in the latest episode. The Marauder is blown up.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
They do like to blow up the iconic ships.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they? Quick escape. Oh, we'll take the piece of garbage.
And then what's his name didn't get the tracker on the ship?
Crosshair, yeah.
I still reckon that's part of the plan. I'm sure he's got another tracker on her. They thought about it. They thought about that. They said that was a plan. They said, "But oh well, no, take the tracker with you." They won't check, and then they go, "Oh, we're trying to get one at the end." I think they got a third idea.
So.
It just seemed too convenient that they, the first thing they did, she hands herself in. The first thing they go is check over trackers.
Well, you got to think of it in episodic writing because if they had a tracker on her, they would just go get her in the next episode. So to have more filler episodes, you have to miss so they can track her down for the next 2 episodes. So I don't think they're going to get her the very next time because that's the reason you miss is because you now have to you got to fill more episodes. So you got to track her down some more.
I did like the one that had like the kids that were being captive, and then what's her name? That the other clone being like, "Oh, what did I do?"
Yeah. It's like, don't make attachments to them, and they're like, number 2378. You're having, and they start bringing in like babies. And you're like, dang, they're testing on babies, and she's like, this kind of sucks.
Like, yeah. And then she gives the kid the Omega's little doll, that she took away from her before. I thought that was cool. Oh, we had Fennec pop up earlier in the season. That one with the swamps. That was nice seeing her. That kind of was like a in between thing. I like that they, even though these episodes might seem like they're like filler, it does do like a little bit of character kind of exposition. You get to know.
It shows where they're it shows where they're at. So
Yeah.
So the next 4 episodes are Juggernaut, Into the Breach, Flash Strike, and the Cavalry have arrived. So it definitely seems like the next 3 are going to be searching for Omega, or an Omega story, and then the Cavalry has arrived to
How are they
save
going to
Omega.
bring? I like that they're doing a crossover with X-Men '97 with Juggernaut. That's going to be awesome.
Well, I'd certainly pay more attention to it if they were. Because X-Men '97 literally has me jumping off the couch with amazement.
Omega's going to run up.
Over the Jubilee episode. The Jubilee episode of X-Men '97. I'm like,
I'm on season 2, halfway through of the original.
Dude, just jump to X-Men '97.
The original series is so good. I'm like super into it. So yeah.
It is, but there's only like 10 episodes of this. Watch this, and then watch the backstory. Just go
I'm
watch.
watching it with my child, and she's never seen it. So, and she's getting really into X-Men now, so it's exciting. So, we might even watch all the movies, even though I don't really like them. So.
Yeah, Fox has kind of really dropped the ball with a lot. Some are good, Days of Future Past I thought did well, and X-Men First, the one with Kevin Bacon, that one's great. I love that one. The first one
Kevin Bacon.
set the tone. The first one set the tone. X-Men 1 and 2. It was great.
Kind of wonky with Days of Futures Past and Apocalypse and stuff. So.
It does get a little crazy. Yeah, Apocalypse. I didn't like the characters, and we don't want to get into like that.
We're gonna have a future episode of I Like That Too, X-Men edition.
Stay on target.
Yeah, stay on
So
target.
Thinking about Bad Batch, because by the time we next meet up, it'll pretty much be over. So what we kind of got to think about is what's our predictions for how things end up right at the very end. It's all said that the final episode is finished. In the last minute, is it happily ever after?
I think Omega has to die.
Digging the graveyard for the Bad Batch people? Or
I can see her
where's everybody
sacrificing
going?
herself.
Well, I have to agree with Steven, where he's like, this episode is still kind of meant for a younger audience. So I just don't see them really killing everybody off. But it seems she's a key point to get to Palpatine making clones. So they could, and we discussed this at the very beginning, they could delay Palpatine's clones 30 years. Like maybe they destroy the facility and Palpatine has to start all over type of thing. And instead of going to Sith science, reverts more to Sith magic. So you don't know.
They're after Grogu, aren't they? They're after Grogu by the time the Mando comes along. So they're still looking for an M count thingy by that point.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget that when they brought in the baby in like episode 10 or 11, they were in a thing similar to what Grogu was in, that floating bassinet.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. Yeah. Cot,
it wasn't the same, but it was enough to be like, okay, this is an older design, because it was 1920, about 25 years before Grogu was found by Mando. So technology could have changed with these bassinets. So
and then if you think about it, like that baby was just a regular baby, right? They weren't, anything like from the temple or anything. Grogu, they were looking for him because he actually was a Jedi from the temple, and he's a baby, so it's easier to, like he said, like it's easier to have babies, and the younger they are, the more they are, And
that's the weird thing. He was already captured. So how was Grogu? Where's that backstory? Well, how was Grogu captured? And they must have already been testing on him because they were taking blood from him. So
no, I don't think they were. He must have been somewhere else. So after Beck saved him, where there's a whole story there, I think. And probably we'll find out later.
Might have to watch the first episode of Mando again.
It might. It seemed like they had just got him. Like they had just found him. Because I don't think. Well, I don't know. I have to rewatch again too. Maybe we'll find out in the movie. I don't know. Like that whole backstory. Maybe he goes to Planet Yoda. Who knows? But yeah, I want to see. You want to see Grogu pop up in Bad Batch then, if they do have him?
It's not going to happen, is it? The chances of that happening is more chances of me winning the lottery.
Nah, again, like sometimes I just like stories to be focused on their own stories and not like lead into other stories type of thing. Connections I'm okay with, but I don't like it around.
Even if they do kidnap or take Omega and try to do experiment on her with the midichlorians, like it doesn't guarantee it's gonna work, So So it could be trial and error type of thing.
Yeah,
Maybe they
the
get
big
her and
question-
then they're like, yeah, it didn't work. Kill her.
Big question I keep asking, well, I don't keep asking, but I have asked it online, not that anybody's answered it, is why was Omega created in the first place? They obviously created her for a reason.
Yeah.
They knew that this was going to happen. This was going to be the result of her creation. What was
Yeah,
what was the grand plan with her in the first place?
Yeah, she was an unaltered clone, just like Boba. Did Nala do it? Did Nala say do it on her own accord? Did someone tell her to do it? Or she's just like, I'm going to make a copy of Boba just in case something happens to Boba, and I can swap him out real quick, and the blood
why
just
aren't they
happens
looking
to
for
be different.
Boba? Like
That's a good,
shouldn't-
that's a valid point too.
If she's valuable, then why isn't Boba valuable? And does Boba have the ability to be a vessel or a host, whatever, for midichlorians?
Well, he's obviously a very good copy, isn't he? Makes very good clones. We know that.
So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know.
I was just wondering whether there was. Well, we'll obviously get the answer at some point, but I wonder whether Omega was created maybe by somebody as a sort of a safeguard against the what the Empire were doing with all the rest of the clones. I don't know. It's
Maybe that's where they're getting.
That would work.
They would have used her to get clone DNA for Jango Fett. Does she know her dad's dead? Did anyone tell her she had a father named Jango?
Yeah, does she know? Does she know she's a clone?
Yeah, does she know she's a clone? Well, she would, right?
Well,
yeah,
she does. She knows now she's a clone. She knows she's a clone. I'm sure she does. Yeah. But yeah,
she
it's
knows she has
interesting.
a brother, and well, I mean, she calls them all brothers, but I guess.
But obviously, Nala Se has been working to go against Palpatine and the Empire this whole time because she's known the whole time that she had this ability in her blood to be, I guess, a transfer point. So, I mean, could this ultimately lead into something like the creation of Snoke type of thing, where because Snoke obviously has Force abilities, but
does he, or was he just a conduit, and then Palpatine was able to control that body?
Well, yeah,
'cause
that
it
is
was
that. Yeah,
able
he created Snoke and he controlled Snoke, but how independent was Snoke? Then
Yeah, but-
Snoke didn't. I don't understand. Yeah,
But then it comes to the point again: how can you use the Force through somebody else?
It's unnatural.
Because Snoke shot lightning, so he used lightning. So, and even the comic teased when it showed clones of Snoke, and they had Luke's cut off hand. So let people go crazy over whatever theories they want with that. But
Well, it's kind of like when you're
we don't-
working remote from home and you have your laptop and you can like go and sign into your PC at work in the office. So you can, like,
So Snoke just sits in the chair until Palpatine
he's like an
switches him on.
avatar. Yeah. But then he kind of shuts down and he sleeps.
yeah. So Palps is there on Exego on his Teams meeting, sort of logged into Snoke, and
It's like
you're on mute. You're
he's
mute.
like those
Palps, you're on mute.
Pacific Rim, he jumps in the robot and he can control it.
He's
The
obviously got a
Jaegers.
lot of.
Yeah,
He's
he's
obviously
a
got a lot
Jaeger.
of Sith magic, hasn't he? Where
Snoke
he
is
is,
a Jaeger.
controlling stuff from afar is. I'm
Wasn't
not
there
sure how
something
much
to
of
like
it-
his ring that was supposed to be like that's how Palpatine
Yeah.
controlled him or something? That was a rumor, probably.
I don't
Yeah,
think he was controlled I don't think he was controlled in terms of every walking and everything he said was exactly what Palpatine wanted to say. I think he controlled him in terms of manipulating him into doing his bidding and stuff. Then that leads you to the question: is why
Well,
Snoke
he was
wasn't that
alive,
bad.
but
Was
then
he?
he would get possessed, right?
Snoke wasn't that bad of a copy, so why didn't Palpatine just put himself into a Snoke body?
He didn't like its face. I don't know. Like it wasn't.
I mean, 'cause it doesn't exactly look brilliant, does he? No, it didn't exactly look that fantastic in Rise of Skywalker. I mean, how gorgeous did he want himself to look? I mean,
He did once he got the Jayat power, and then he like replenished and everything.
yeah, but he
And
didn't
his
know that was
fingers
going to
grew back.
happen until that
Yeah.
film, did he?
His fingers grew back.
Well, because remember
Yeah.
the clones aren't strong enough to keep his massive Force abilities, and they just deteriorate super fast.
Maybe.
So that he could just be creating a whole bunch of clones and kill them in a couple months
Wasn't
or
it
a
in?
year or whatever.
Was it in the books was it Shadow of the Sith where they said that all the clones of Snoke were alive in those, canister containers that they're in.
Well, they didn't say Snoke, but yeah.
Yeah, they actually were living and suffering in there.
I can't remember.
Well, and don't forget Moff Gideon. All them clones started to wake up too.
Yeah.
So those were Gideon clones, right? I can't remember what those clones
Gideon
were.
clones, yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was my mind putting a face on it or what.
Right, they were all. There's like too much stuff to watch. Like, there's
presumably Gideon was doing his own stuff. He wasn't doing any Palpatine's bidding in that cloning.
Oh yeah, and it's not like Gideon has Force abilities, so he can clone himself if he wants.
Yeah,
so
it didn't matter. They could stop making Star Wars content like today, and we'd still rewatching everything. We'd be doing it for the next like 20 some years. So yeah, I
just started rewatching Rise of Skywalker yesterday.
Yeah, I watched it a couple weeks ago. It was really good. I liked it. Enjoyed it. Good family movie. We all watched it and we were like laughing. It's pretty funny and it's like exciting. So
I will give it that. I have my problems with it, but even with something that I have my problems with, it's one of the funniest of the movies. C-3PO, I think, is top tier. The reason I love Empire so much is because C-3PO is hilarious, where he's he's like my legs, stuff like that from Empire. He's hilarious, and it's just feels like classic peak C-3PO and Rise of Skywalker. Poe's
you were a
cool.
Spice Runner. You were a Stormtrooper.
There's still too much. There's still too much happening in that movie too quickly for my liking. I like it to be a bit more paced out, but
faster, more intense. Stephen.
If slower and less intense, I think I would have gone. But I still don't understand all those ships. I still say that those Final Order Star Destroyers, there's nowhere they all crashed and got destroyed at the end. Just doesn't seem. I still don't know how they break through the ice. If they break through the ice, does that mean that were they enclosed in that ice, or were they below the ice in some sort of hangar bay?
Built underground or something. So.
But why would you build something underground?
All the questions about like how they got through the thing, I got kind of explanations watching it again. It kind of made more sense. So it warrants rewatches. That movie.
I think
there is a lot going on.
Yeah, because so much happens in that movie. I think that's what just confused me the first time around. Of all the Star Wars films, it's the one that you need to watch multiple times to digest everything that happens in it.
And even with there's new material that's coming out that's supporting it. Yeah. So Shadows of the Sith helps tease into Rise of Skywalker. All these clones help tease into Rise of Skywalker. So
we're like, how confused were we Attack of the Clones when they're like, why is there a clone army just waiting here? Who was Cypher D? There's like so much stuff that we didn't know, and it took like so long for
We're still waiting for all that full story, aren't we? As well.
I mean, it took 20 years to get a backstory on Palpatine. So you just have, you have Vader. He's the biggest bad. Oh, he actually kneels to somebody. Where's his backstory? I want it right away. It's like,
why did they nerf Vader in Return of the
Jedi? Yeah, it took us 19 years to get a backstory on this weird bug-eyed guy that appeared in a hologram. So,
and Dooku, we got some Dooku backstory with the Tales of the Jedi too. So,
yeah. So. Thank you, Disney, for filling in more and more backstory, man, because we were not getting it before. So the backstory is just pouring in like crazy now. And while I'm patiently waiting, but I'm not getting any freaking younger, I'm going to need some movies here, Disney. Like, give me some movies, because it's been, 2019 was the last one? So,
I want Shmi a Star Wars story. Want a Smee Skywalker movie or show or
Smee, the Smee story. 50 Shades of Smee.
Where it comes from
50 Shades of Smee.
Where's the
show? Oh, jeez.
No. He's already been tied up once, the poor woman.
Suddenly she's going, "Ooh, I seem to be pregnant." Yeah.
Which was
God, if they ever did that and like retconned it and made it like she lied or something like that, would be awful. I always
found her a little bit shady, I have to say.
It's funny because I watch, like, Steven, I sent you that link for that person watching that. I like watching videos of people watching stuff for the first time, especially Star Wars and stuff. So like I've watched several of them, and like when she says that line, like I don't know, there was no father. People always assume that the father's just not in the picture. Like they never put it together that it was an immaculate conception kind of thing. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
When we watched it, we were like, oh, she just got pregnant from the Force.
Even George Lucas wrote his own out for that story when he had the smartest and most powerful Jedi in history say, misread the prophecy could have been. Like, George Lucas wrote his own out to the virgin birth. So it's just like, oh, whatever happens, happens, man. It's not like it was cemented.
But I think that referred to more of the balance. Like Anakin was supposed to bring the chosen one brings balance. He's like, well, what do we even know what that means? I think that's
the chosen one.
That's what Yoda was kind of talking about. It's like, well, maybe we misinterpreted what balance actually was and what he was supposed to do. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think it had anything to do with it.
And that's why Qui-Gon Jinn, to me, was just a crazy religious zealot. And I don't think he's some great Jedi. So he followed all sorts of Nostradamus things about the end of the world, blah, blah, blah. And it totally infatuated him. And
it sounds just like Mace Windu. That's what he was telling him in the...
Mace was right.
What was the book that had Dooku looking at the holocron with the prophecies, and then Qui-Gon got obsessed with them too? What book was that?
Master and Apprentice.
Was it Master and Apprentice? Yeah.
That is one where it talks about 3 or 4 prophecies, and I never went back and reread that book because I don't think a lot happens in it. But I wanted to. I lost the pages that it was in, and I'm like, well, wait, why did? That was before I was taking crazy notes on books, and I was like, wait, what are all these prophecies? Because it'd be neat to kind of tie them back in and just made them fit into something silly and fun. See, this was talking about Jar Jar, ridiculous stuff like that.
It was talking about Omega.
Yep. Omega,
Marchion.
It is Marchion, but they've solidified that.
It is now.
It's been Marchion in all the books lately.
Yes. Well, have we done everything?
I guess.
Who's actually going to do? And I finished 5 minutes to spare. We've got 5 minutes to.
I mean, we kind of glanced over Bad Batch, but I mean, there wasn't really anything really deep to go into that much, We watched.
Yeah, I think the return of Asajj and the talk on Omega's blood and what it really means, because I find it interesting that Asajj said she does have an M count. It's not like she revealed to be as strong as Master Yoda. She just said, yeah, it's there. But then
everybody's got an M count.
Everyone has an M count. Yeah.
The very next episode talked about her blood is actually, they specifically use the word binder. It allows the transfer of M counts, midichlorians. So to me,
she's not a Jedi.
Yeah, she doesn't have to be Sabine where she magically gets the Force for some ridiculous reason. But if she just is a binder, it's like, okay, it makes sense, Or she's going to start shooting lightning out of her fingers. I don't know. It's Filoni.
I can't see Omega turning evil at any point.
No.
In some respects, she's very much like Rey, isn't she? In that everything, she sees the good in everything, and she's also good at everything and that kind of stuff. That some people think that she's essentially, in some respects, Rey's great grandmother or mother or sort of thing through the use of cloning and that kind of stuff. So, some possibility in that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Would that be too simple? That Omega is essentially her mum? Well, her mum.
It can't be though. Well, I don't know. Yeah, because they don't really say how she's a strand cast of Palpatine. But how did they make that happen? Well,
potentially she's going to have some sort of connection. It might not be through Omega. It might be some. But somewhere along the line, Palpatine's got what he needed from somebody. It wasn't from Grogu. Well, Grogu's got nothing to do with it, has it? Because Grogu's all Moff Gideon's trying to get hold of the blood and that kind of stuff, wasn't it?
I think it piggybacks off of the Palpatine research.
Would that be a bit too late though? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be too late for him to be still trying to find blood?
No, because it's like he just died like 5 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's right, yeah.
And he still got like a whole 30 years, of them like trying to figure out how to get Snoke,
So what you're saying is Grogu is Rey's great granddad.
Yeah. It probably was a combination of all. I'm assuming Palpatine's thing never really worked because it didn't really work. I mean, he had Snoke, but he was just a puppet. He needed to have. I don't know. The plan seemed to always.
He obviously he knows all that. He knows that at this time he knows that he needs blood with certain quantities, and yet by the time it's coming to like Shadows of the Sith and all that kind of stuff, he's making strand casts which don't work.
Yeah.
So
Tarkin keeps cutting the budget everywhere. So, I mean,
well, that's the other thing I was thinking about. What does it matter to the budget? They can just. Why does money come into it? Can't you just?
I think he's stealing money. I think Tarkin's embezzling.
People around. They don't need money.
Yeah, he's
well, there's still a government, so there's still going to be. Is this up for the budget? Is this there's until he totally disbands them in Episode 4.
Tarkin's walking around the Death Star. Who left this light on?
Yeah, right.
Put some LED bulbs
Turn
in
up
there.
the thermostat.
Kyber crystals ain't cheap.
You're not watching TV. Turn it off.
Yeah.
Okay, predictions for the finale, since we're gonna be there by the time we do Senate again. Darth Vader's gonna show up and fight Rex and kill him.
But he's still alive in Return of the Jedi.
Oh shoot, he is.
Remember that they
Even
semi off-screen confirmed. So
Ahsoka's gonna show up, and I don't know. No, that wouldn't work either. Darth Vader's gonna do something. He has to pop up.
Is somebody going to die? I think the only people likely to die in the finale are probably going to be the quote bad guys like Hemlock. Hemlock's time is numbered, really. I can't see him surviving the series.
I think that
Emery probably get
too.
it as well.
My prediction is Palpatine appears, Omega and Palpatine fight. Omega's revealed to have powers greater than Palpatine. She kills Palpatine, but Palpatine's spirit encompasses her and he takes over her body, and she just turns into like an ugly old man, and that's why he looks all super weird in the original trilogy. So Palpatine and Omega fights. That's where I'm going, baby. Because I got nothing. I really don't know. I don't see him killing these characters, but I want them to kill these characters just because I'm a old man that likes dark stories. So I'm up in the air. It's surprising this doing the end of when it seems like there's so many possible stories. So
I think Echo's finally gonna die. That I do think.
Omega's gonna get sent to the world between worlds. So
that'd be good.
I mean, they are the Bad Batch. They probably haven't got the same lifespan as the rest of the clones, anyway.
Oh no, Rex lives a long time.
Yeah, but he's not a Bad Batch person, is he?
Yeah.
But he's one of the first clones, ain't he?
She's older than the Bad Batch, though. So.
Yeah.
But we know
they all got
Rebels.
accelerated age to die quick.
Yeah, the Bad Batch accelerated too. So.
By the time of Rebels, they all start taking steroids, don't they? So it's also that's how they prolong their life even further.
Well, they're probably just not eating packaged. What is
They're
that
eating
gruel?
fish.
Yeah, they actually eat food instead of just paste. It's nutrient paste. It's good for you. Yes,
it's like
sir.
when they show the retired WWE guys. That's what he kind of turned into.
Like The Rock.
They're like
more
Brock.
jack.
They're like Brock Lesnar.
If you smell, yes.
Who won WrestleMania, Ryan?
Well, that was only night one.
Yeah,
is it really a date?
Yeah, I don't know if I can be bothered, but
Roddy Piper, did he fight?
No, he's been dead for a while.
Ultimate Warrior?
So dead.
What about
even the WWE doesn't bring back people from the dead?
I haven't watched that since like the 80s. Actually, I did watch The Rock in the 90s, but yeah.
Oh, the Rock's not. The final boss is back, and he's beefier than ever, man.
I had Macho Man and Hulk Hogan little toys when I was a kid. So.
I'm looking at my pops now of Hulk and Macho Man.
Oh yeah, brother.
Come on. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, we're
Kinda
done
sound like
there.
record.
I forgot to set any questions for this Senate, so sorry about that.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
What was the only movie with 3 dots at the end of the crawl?
I did look, and yeah, they all do have 4 in that one. It's 3.
See, I told you. I heard it said online. I was like,
on that shot, that's why it was really tiny on my phone, and the Phantom Menace one looked like it had 5, but it actually was just
exactly, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that needs to be fixed at some point in the future release.
Because it's Return of the Jedi that has 3 only, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe
Okay,
it was
well, we're done then. Thank you very
We're
much,
done?
everybody, for coming along. We had a special guest Ron there in the first hour before we had to pop out on the other matters and stuff, more important things than the Senate. And we've had so it's time. We can't say goodbye to Ron because he's already gone. So all I can say is goodbye to Ryan.
Goodbye there.
And goodbye to Ricky.
Bye-bye.
And you will soon hear about how you can catch us all on various social medias and the interweb and all that kind of stuff.
Yep,
we
we're
hope
on
to
LinkedIn.
see you. But we'll see you again some other time. Goodbye, and may the Force be with you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
For light and life.
Go switch off. I am the Senate.
Be sure to follow us online. We're at Facebook at PSW Senate. Join our PSW Star Wars Facebook group, where we all are in there interacting. You can find us on Twitter at PSW Senate. On Instagram, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. And on TikTok, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. We look forward to hearing from you.
The Force will be with you, always.
Yeah, but not double dropping the end one. That's getting me a bit worried that we actually will have to impatiently wait for a week on the after the penultimate one to the finale. It's like old days.
I'm all for that anticipation feeling. I love that, and hopefully the last one is a good long 45-minute or something. That it's.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, but I don't know. Can't remember if Rebels went any longer or not when they did the finale. It must have done because I had that little bit at the end, but I can't remember.
But actually, it was kind of the penultimate was. I don't remember Rebels that much, but right, the finale just kind of set everybody. It wasn't cliffhangers, whereas the other one you had the major impactful losing Kanan, or that was a couple of episodes, I guess, before it ended. Anyway, it's getting to a fever pitch, that's for sure. Matches have been lit. Flares are standing by to set everything on fire.
Yeah, but you know what people are like. They want things get these double. I don't know why they double dropped last week's because they weren't.
Because they weren't in one of the episodes. That's the only reason why.
Well, maybe, but they weren't closely linked, were they? The two episodes, really?
No, but it would have been weird just to have that one by itself. People are like, what happened? How come they weren't in the episode? You know?
Yeah, I think those two did go well together because of their subject nature and
yeah, I think they went all right.
They went right together. I mean, I was expected to be a part 1 and part 2, but it wasn't. They were 2 separate episodes on their own.
Part 10 and part 11.
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, we still haven't worked out that. That was the theory I found online about the. Ron would have seen the conversation about the 3 dots. Well, no, is it 4 dots? No, it's 3, isn't it? 3 dots at the end of the crawl for Return of the Jedi. But 4 for
most
every
have
other
3.
crawl.
Most have 4, and just that one has 4 or 3.
That's right. Yeah.
One has 5, right? One of them has 5.
Oh,
No,
it does. I thought they were all 4, but one had 3.
No, they were all different. I posted that picture.
No, they were 4. Apart from that one.
One of them had 5.
I don't think so.
I'd have to look it up.
That was when after you had a few beers or something.
Well, I would suggest that was the 76, 70, and 80s. They didn't grammatically know what an ellipsis was, 3 dots. So he just did 4 ... You know, there's more coming.
I thought I heard it was a mistake.
Yeah, Jedi.
It was an accident. It was an accident, wasn't it? I thought I heard
a mistake. I'm saying a Jedi. They realized, oh, this grammatically should just be 3 dots, and then Ep 1, 2, and 3, they realized, no. We're going to make this consistent 4 dots. But it's interesting that they haven't, of all the changes and how they correct things, they could make that correction to keep them homogenous.
Right, so we'll go through the bad. It's going to be very hard for me to summarize the Bad Batch stuff because
I don't even remember half of what happened. So.
If I thought about that, I could have spent an hour this morning trying to make them all into 1 sentences per episode, but I didn't. Anyhow, right, okay, let's just get going. Everybody ready?
Yep.
Okay. Let me just say. Okay. Right.